to the fourth session of design thinking with emphasis on COVID-19. This is the continual part of analysis, which is very important to identify the root cause in our problem. In the last session, we had the analysis and we looked at the category A, that is the COVID-19 impacted persons. And in this session, we will look at the category B and category C, that is the persons who are in contact with the COVID-19 patients and the service staff for this COVID-19 patients. Let us see.
Okay, now let us try to analyze in detail and try to identify the root cause for the problem associated with category B. That is, in our case, the people in contact with COVID patients. They may be their family members, they may be their co-travelers in case they happen to travel for any purpose, or even their colleagues in their workplace, or classmates in case of students, and so on. Okay, they are expected to have problem. Let us apply our multi-why to find out a root cause in this category. So what is the first why? They are most likely to be future carriers. Why they may be future carriers? That is second why. The reason is it is suspected that they may be most affected persons. Okay, why they may be most affected persons? Because whatever we mention, they are mandatory jobs. After all, nothing is known in advance about this issue, or even they may not expect that it is so happen with them. So this is the root cause in this case. Now let us apply this case for category C. Yes, and let us try to see 5 whys for healthcare force. I already mentioned earlier, we know like the doctors, nurses, paramedical staff, all these are playing very important role as the serving staff. So now we need to consider in case they have any problems. Okay, why should we consider this cause? Because these persons are sitting greater risk of catching the COVID-19 because it is a communicable disease. Now let us assume that a few doctors or their co-staff find positive with coronavirus. It's not only my assumption, of course, found happened several parts. And most unfortunately, some of the doctors, the paramedical staff in different parts of the world lost their lives. Let us pray God to make their souls rest in peace. Okay, now let us see why so happened. That is the first way. Because the doctors or co-staff sometimes found ill. Okay, why so happened? That is our second way. The most possible reason is they will be at more anxiety in extending services in emergency wings, which are really high critical zones for treatment. And then here they may be rigor for providing quick services like placing the marks on the patient faces soon after the entry of the patients. And of course, they may need to supply the tissues to the patients. And of course, they may need to shift the patients to better ventilated places. And of course, at the particular conditions, there may be some sort of surface contamination. Okay, Why so happen attempts? That is our third way. The most possible reason is that they must be hurrying to attempt for services, or even they must not identify it early, so treatment must have been started without any mandatory precautions. This is one of the possible ways. Okay, now let us look at the fourth why. That means why so happened. That means the treatment without precautions must have been happened. Why? If treatment proceeds that way, there is a most possible way for the staff for longer period of exposure to infection zones. Okay, why such exposure taken place? That is our fifth way. There may be any lapse in personal protection equipment, or it may be of any reasons. So if they are with, or they are being provided with the personal protection accessories, it may be the better, or not only for their safe, it may be a better motivation for them and give them a kind of confidence for them to attempt for any kind of patients. So the root cause for this case is this one, that the most possible reason for these doctors or paramedical staff or nurses are likely to get attacked in risk is just because either of lag, or either of non-supply, or improper utilization, or negligence of the personal protection equipment. Yes. Now let us look at the analysis for another supporting team, like, as I already told, the police force. They are also getting more impacted in their works because their involvement is very typical in present pandemic situation. Okay, let us see what is the first why in this case. That means why they are getting impacted so. The first way we can say is the feeling heavy stress in torching summer hot conditions. And they're also getting frustrated at times. You must have identified the possible reasons in recent days. That is why I'm not mentioning any reasons here regarding this kind of frustration. So the heavy stress and frustration is one of the reasons. Okay, why so happen? That's what we consider for second way. It is due to the very hectic and typical work schedules, and also continual presence of work for longer durations, like since months. Okay, now see the third way. If you go internal question again, it is obviously due to the inevitable implementation of the government instructions. You must have gone through, like the implementation of lockdown, curfew, 144 sections, or zone categorizations, etc. and etc., as per the instructions issued by central and state governments, and of course based on the need. Now look at fourth way. That is why they have to do so. The reason is they need to have more vigilance for safety of public in present situation. Just switch over to fifth way. Why more vigilance? This is the fifth way. The reason is it is a pandemic, and it is proven that COVID-19 is transmitted disease. So the controlling of public for not to have more outside movement and control of general services have become inevitable. That means the physical distancing and care while move are required to observe. That is why controlling public and general services in smoother way is required. But since the public may not be able to adhere strongly to the situation, that is the reason the possibility for the police force to getting controlling these public is hectic sometimes. So this is the root cause for their problem. Now let us look at the analysis for another important supporting staff, sanitation staff. This is very important category. Why in fact I am telling you the supporting staff on whom we should look for providing solution to their problem of health and safe. Let us apply multiwise. The first why is these people are also at high health risk while they are discharging duties. Why so? That means the second why. The reason is they are directly involved in cleaning activities like the patient related areas, ICU wings, isolation wards, quarantines, market areas where general public gatherings happen, etc. That means they are directly being exposed to potential infection areas. Now let us look at the third way. The reason is to avoid infections. It is very important to see that utmost cleaning and hygiene conditions are required to control transmission of virus. Okay, why cleaning and hygiene are being maintained, or if the cleaning and hygiene are being maintained, why they are getting impacted? That is fourth way. The reason is in order to maintain the set clean and hygiene conditions, they will have to use disinfects in different ways, sometimes in solid form, sometimes in spraying liquids, or sometimes with sanitizing solutions. Like whatever they follow, there is a greater possibility for these staff for getting impacted by disinfects. That means whatever the form they use, they are obviously being impacted, most likely. Further, the working places and the working conditions they are facing will also have some sort of psychological impact. This is the fourth way. Now let us come for this fifth way. Okay, how these disinfects will impact on that, how these working conditions will impact on that. If we ask this, as most of the disinfects are carcinogenic, the rigorous exposure to these disinfects will sure impact on these staff. So this is the root cause, and to make these staff safe from these problems, we needed to apply and identify apt solutions.
Friends, this is what analysis and how we need to find out the root cause for the problem. This is in fact a kit kind of approach, but it is very famous Titus policy. I don't exactly mean that you should go directly for 5 ways. If you are satisfied, you can stop even with 3 ways, or else you have to continue In case you don't find the root cause, again you have to go back to the questionnaire and you should check, or else you need to discuss with the experts till you get the correct root cause so that we can ideate and find out the solution for the problem. So we will end this session here with, and in the next session we will go for the stage solve. So be safe and stay tuned. Happy learning. Bye.